Great skills again by him. Oh, marvellous goal by Lewis.
Welcome to the Rangers Journal.
Good afternoon and welcome to the Rangers Journal on this 26th of October, Sunday afternoon, as we look forward to our match today against Kilmarnock in the SPL, hoping to bounce back from our very disappointing midweek game in the Europa League. Joining me today to discuss the match and talk about what we hope to see from the troops today, we've got Tomo. Welcome, Tomo. How's it going?
Hi, Doug. Yeah, not too bad. Bit of a rainy Sunday afternoon here, but hopefully Rangers might actually try and brighten it up for us today. So, yeah, kind of looking forward to the game.
That would be nice. And as if they knew we were going live, Rangers have literally just dropped the lineup, so we'll get that out for you in a moment. While I'm sorting that, Tomo, where are you at the moment with the team after the game? I don't know if you've been on since the midweek match. Where are you kind of with the team at the moment in terms of your thoughts and feelings?
Yeah, I've not been on any of the podcasts since, but I've watched them and pretty much echo what everyone says. The game against Bram was there's no other word I can use other than pathetic. There was nobody that came out with any credit apart from probably Butland. Couldn't do much about the goals himself. But the outfield players, they all need to take a long, hard look at themselves. It's all well and good we can say Russell Martin was an issue, and he was. I'm not defending Martin, but who comes in and can change the attitude of these players and get more out of them? That's a question. Danny Roll has now got the manager's position. What can he do? Well, as I say, some of the players the other night just looked like they'd never seen a football pitch before, and it was embarrassing. We were beaten by a team who, quite simply, were organised and done the basics. That was it. They were nothing special. We weren't top-tier, top-level team. We got beat by a team who could do the basics, and we couldn't even do that. So it's hard to see what we do going forward, Doug, if I'm being brutally honest. I don't know what changes, what can change.
Absolutely, and we'll get into a little bit of what those changes could potentially be. But before we do so, I just want to give a shout out to Davy Reid 2413, who's become a new member of the channel. Welcome. Thank you very much for joining up. If anyone else wants to become a member, you can do so by going to our membership page on YouTube and sign up. It's just 99 pence per month. We are stepping up our member content right now as well, so there's going to be loads of exciting stuff for you. We're doing a video this evening talking about our best and worst managers, so that will be a really interesting one, and a good topic to hit on Walter's anniversary as well. So if you are a member, you can look forward to that dropping this evening. Also shout out to Paul, who has hit membership for 15 months running, so thanks, Paul, for your dedication and following us the way you follow the team. To say all our members and subscribers are the equivalent of our 12th man, so thank you to everyone who is following along. If you don't want to become a member, you don't need to. You can just hit that subscribe button. That's a massive help as well. Hit the notification button. That'll let you know when we go live. We've been putting out content every single day over the last week or two, pretty much, as there's been plenty to talk about, and we'll always be here to do the talking when there is Rangers content, and there is always Rangers content, so do sign up if you want to see more. Okay, so as I said, the team has dropped, so we'll have a wee look at that. Starting 11 here is Jack Butland at number 1, no surprise there. We've got James Tavernier, John Suter, Derek Cornelius, and Jaden Megoma as the back four. So Cornelius comes back in after dropping out from the midweek game. We've got a midfield of Diomande, Raskin, and Asgard. So it looks like the standard three. And then Gasama, Miovski, and Danilo, which perhaps means it maybe isn't the standard three. So, Tom, there was I don't know if you saw it in the chat, there was a leaked or supposed leaked lineup that we kind of talked about last night on the show we did. And it suggested we possibly could be moving to Danny Röhl has played a 4-2-2-2 in the past at Leipzig, and the lineup that dropped there suggested possibly moving to that. The one difference that's here is Asgard is there instead of Moore. That would still fit the 4-2-2-2, to be fair. What's your thoughts on this? As I say, there is a change there. Two strikers, although Danilo can play in a deeper role. Do you think he's maybe moving to two up top and trying to kick the team into gear by changing up the lineup?
Yeah, I would say so. I can't, we've basically played with two wingers, either Gassama and Ant-Man or Mikey Moore's come in or Curtis. We've certainly only got Gassama there. Asgard isn't a winger. And Danilo, I can't see him playing up front on his own or even out wide. So it's nice to see a little bit of a change. But again, I would have liked to have seen maybe Cameron, Curtis getting in there, have a real change to that starting 11. It's almost like we're rewarding people that are failing week in, week out. I've been a big critic of Asgard. Good goal last week against Dundee United, don't get me wrong, but other than that, we've not seen anything of him. And I don't think he deserves a place in the team. I think in the little we've seen of him, Cameron's done a lot more, Curtis has done a lot more, but I'll give him the benefit of a bit doubt today, and hopefully he can prove me wrong. But yeah, I think it will be a bit of a formation change from Röhl. I don't think he'll be going with the same formation we have been the last few games, or pretty much most of the season.
Yeah, and I think that could be really refreshing because we've played a similar system for quite a few years, that sort of 4-2-3-1. So I think seeing something different could be refreshing, not just for the players but for the fans as well. John's pointed out there, why no Ant-Man in the squad, and he makes a good point there. Looking at the subs, Kelly, Aarons, Rothwell, Barron, Chermiti, Cameron, Giga, Moore, and Curtis, it would seem that Ant-Man has dropped out completely. I don't know about yourself. I haven't heard anything injury-wise or that. So that maybe just be down to form?
I would say so. I mean, personally, I would have dropped them out of the squad for that first touch that he took on Thursday night, which indirectly led to the second goal we conceded. Apart from the first game that he had when he first signed for us, first arrived, he hasn't really shown much. And again, it's about being rewarded. You need to show you're worthy of a place in this squad. I think going with Majovski and Danilo up there will give the Kilmarnock defence something to think about. Our centre forwards have been too isolated, too static. So hopefully with Danilo in there, he's good at the link-up play, and I expect to see something from him today. I'm happy to see him get a start, but Ant-Man being out of the squad doesn't surprise me. There could have been a few others that didn't get in the squad either.
Absolutely. I've seen a couple of people mentioning Bajrami and the fact that he's not seeing getting any time at the moment. He's obviously not on the bench either in this particular game. He's obviously a player that's faded pretty much into the background. He wasn't great last season. He was one of the signings I think that we were hoping was going to be one of the big signings, and it just didn't really turn out that way. He started really brightly, and then just kind of had a lot of really average games, a couple of decent games near the end, in a more kind of workhorse role where he was kind of marking out players, particularly in some of the Old Firm matches. He played pretty well in that kind of role, but wasn't really the we're looking for. Do you think there's going to be any at this point?
I don't know if it's my internet that's played up or yours has gone. If someone in the chat could let us know if he can still hear me, but not Doug, that'd be great.
I'm still here.
Yeah, I think we've lost Doug for a minute there. So I'll do this. I'll try and do this solo on the hop. For those that are interested, the Hearts Celtic game has just finished. It's 3-1 to Hearts in the end. So if we win today, that'll take us to within 5 points of Celtic. Obviously, Hearts are a lot further ahead. We've got Doug back after some technical difficulties. Sorry, Doug, I didn't hear what you were saying before you cut off about Bajrami.
Yeah, apologies there, guys. StreamYard kicked me out for some reason. I don't know what went on, but anyway, I was just saying, do you think there's a way back for Bajrami? He seems to just be slowly drifting away more and more from the team. So that was basically the gist of the question. Is there a way back from him at this point?
I mean, I think it's very hard for him. I think he is a very talented player. We've just not really seen it that much at Rangers, whether it's a case of the league doesn't suit him, he doesn't want to be here. I don't know. But he's, as I say, he is a talented player. And the fact he can't get in the squad probably suggests to me that he is sort of going towards the exit door. But it's up to Danny Roll to judge these players. I mean, he's only been in a week, only had a couple of training sessions with him, so with the squad. I don't expect him to be making huge amount of changes at this stage, but certainly over the next couple of weeks, I think he'll be able to weed out the ones that he can trust and the ones he can't trust.
Absolutely, he has hinted about that in some of his pressers. He's mentioned about finding out what players you can put on as subs and who'll play well in those positions, and I think substitutes in that particular way can be very important. If you look at the likes of someone like Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, he was never really a dyed in the wall first team player for most of his career, but was absolutely lethal coming off the bench. He was someone that could just read the game really well and didn't take time to get into a match, and obviously scored one of Man United's most infamous goals as a result. Got Scott B here saying 2 strikers, Asgard on the left, question mark. We were discussing, we think he might be going with a 4-2-2-2, which is something he has played previously at Leipzig, which would have all of the players certainly in their starting positions fairly narrow, so that would keep Asgard in that kind of 10 position, as Great Wall Canada suggested, 2 number 10s. We touched on that last night. That's something obviously Gerrard was a proponent of, playing kind of 2 10s behind the strikers. And then obviously we've got the 2 strikers there who potentially, as I say, will start up front beside each other. We'll get width from the fullbacks and a combination probably of the 10s pushing out on occasion as well. As I say, I would imagine Danilo will probably move around quite a lot. Miovski will likely be the more kind of sit in the box type one. And go from there. Just before I got cut off, or just before I came back in, I heard you mentioning the Hearts Celtic game. Obviously, that's ended 3 to Hearts. They are continuing their outstanding run in the league. It has to be said, they are the team to beat right now, with the both Old Firm really stumbling. Not only does that make what's happened thus far in this season, Tom, all the more frustrating that our usual main rivals are also so poor. But I hope that Roll is in the dressing room pointing to that result and going, right, Celtic are there to be caught. If we can, I think I'm right in saying if we win today, it will reduce the gap to 5 between us and them. And Roll talked about taking it game by game. If you wanted to maybe move it out ever so slightly more, the first thing you would we should be looking at is catching Celtic, getting above them, and then after that you look to see where we are against Hearts and try to chase that. Is that something that is the league still, if not the league, is at least finishing second still a realistic goal, given that they're continuing to drop points?
I think so, but we need to just look after ourselves first and foremost and start putting wins together. We've won 1 league game so far this season. We can't be taking anything for granted, and but for those admitted VAR mistakes, we'd be leveling points with Celtic. You know, when we played Hearts and Celtic played, I think it was Kilmarnock, we'd be leveling points with them. And yet we're the ones having a terrible season, which we are. I'm not trying to sugarcoat it, but we start putting a run of wins together, breeds confidence, then who knows where we go from there. We just need to look after ourselves at the moment, and then once we get those wins, see where it takes us. But looking at the team, the thing that sort of worries me is coming off the bench, there isn't really much there that I look at where if we are struggling in a game, where are the goals going to be coming from? You've got Finlay Curtis, obviously, who started the season well, but doesn't seem to have been played much since then. So I think we get a win today. If we get a win today, then we can kick on from there. But like Gary said there about taking advantage of them dropping points, we very rarely seem to do it. They drop points in the lunchtime kickoff. It's inevitable we'll lose or draw in the kickoff later on in the afternoon. So hopefully we break that cycle. But yeah, get a win today, even if it's a scrappy 1-0 win. Just get something to give us something to look forward to and build on, really. You're on mute, Doug.
That's the yellow cards coming to me. Yeah, that was the first thing Roll said in his introductory presser. Win games first, play attractive football later. And I think that, more than ever, that is absolutely what we need to be focusing on. Just take a moment here to give a shout out to the period Sniper 56. Member, a huge thank you to you for sticking with us. I hope you continue for a long time. Wants to be a member, you can go to our membership page and join up for just 99 pence a month. We'll be doing a video for just members this evening, looking at our best to worst managers. So there'll be plenty to talk about there, and we'll have more membership content coming to you as the weeks go ahead. We're looking at hopefully doing a schedule of Sunday, Monday, Friday for members videos, so keep your eyes peeled if you are a member for those. If you're not a member, not able to be a member, then that's perfectly fine. We do just ask to consider subscribing instead. Subscribing is 100% free, and you can get all our videos to your feed when YouTube feels like it. It doesn't always behave that way. But you can hit the notification bell as well to get notifications when we go live, which at the moment is pretty much every day because there's been so much to talk about. Tomo, you mentioned there, strikers scoring on a day that Ronaldo's got his 950th goal of his career. We're just begging for our strikers to get one. We've got two on the field today. How big an impact do you think that can make? And do you think one of the things we've talked about is the strikers not getting service and being disconnected? Do you think having that second man there can make a big difference to them supporting one another and hopefully creating each other chances?
I mean, I hope I'm not jinxing it, but I can't see it being any worse than what it's been. Majovski, while I don't think he is the player he was when he was at Aberdeen, he still knows where the goal is, but he's barely touched the ball since he signed for us. He's been getting absolutely nothing from the wide men, so having Danilo up there to just occupy the defence and make them think, oh, we've got two of them to keep an eye on, should hopefully get him the space that he'll need to get the shots away. It is something a little bit different today, and I'm looking forward to hopefully having Tav being a bit more attacking today. He's been in a sort of a limbo, I think, between defence and attack, not knowing whether to go, not knowing whether to stay. Whereas I think this formation is going to put a lot on him and Magoma getting forward, with Raskin covering really when they do go. So hopefully we see the best from the attacking side of Tav today. But yeah, I want to see something from Majovski in terms of his movement, and getting the ball in behind. That's what he was really good at Aberdeen. A quick ball over the top to him. And we haven't done that for him since he signed. Everything's been in front of the defence. Really easy to play against. So hopefully with the two of them there, I think it will make a difference today.
Absolutely. And I think you're bang on there in terms of finding the right balance for Tavernier between the defence and getting the best out of his attacking skills, which are quite obviously still there. But he's still scoring goals, still creates a lot, while trying to mitigate for the defensive frailties that have crept more and more in. I think can be a big part of helping us move forward. I do think we'll see what you mentioned there, or I can't remember if either you or someone in the comments mentioned Raskin dropping back into and creating a back three with the fullbacks pushing up. I think that's a pretty likely thing that we'll see. A couple of people in the comments asking about the formation. We've been surmising that the formation may be a 4-2-2-2. This is something that Roll has done at Leipzig previously. And as a formation that looks like it suit these players. So we've got the standard back four there: Tab, Suter, Cornelius, and Magoma. Sat in front of them would be Diomande and Raskin. Raskin likely to be as I say there, the one that would potentially drop to form a back three while the fullbacks push up. You then have the 2 10s, Asgard and Gassama. Gassama will probably, I would imagine, be given pretty free license to roam, use his pace. And then you've got Miovski and Danilo as the top two. And again, I'd probably expect Danilo to be the one that maybe moves a little bit more around Miovski in that scenario. I think we've covered most bits about the team. So before we finish off, I do want to just take a wee minute here. Sniper's put in there remembering Sir Walter Smith. Trauma is obviously the anniversary of Walter's passing today. There's been a lot of obviously posts and things around. Do you want to take a moment just talk about Walter and maybe tell us a favourite moment related to him?
Yeah, I mean, for me, Doug, I started watching Rangers early 90s, so obviously Walter was a big part of my footballing childhood and growing up. He brought in some fantastic players and had a fantastic team during the 90s. Whether people will agree with me or not, I think he actually done better with us the second time around. When he came back, he had a lot less resources. The club wasn't the same as what it was in the 90s. Football wasn't the same as it was in the 90s. But he won us 3 titles after the experiment of Paul Le Guen went hideously wrong, settled the club again. And I've used it as a bit of a comparison this week with Danny Roll in terms of when Walter came back in that second time round, we were fragile at the back. And the first thing he did is went out and got Davy Weir and Ugo Ehiog to get in that defence and make us solid. And while Roll doesn't have the luxury at the moment of being able to sign players, I hope that come January, that's where he starts at the back. But yeah, Walter was an absolute legend. And for me, my favourite moment with him was not actually on the football pitch. Just as COVID was kicking off, I was going to a night with Brian Laudrup and Ian Ferguson in Glasgow, and got a phone call. I was coming from Bellman, got a phone call the day before saying, Laudrup's been locked in Denmark. The country had closed down. We're still going to go ahead, but it's going to be with Walter Smith, who stepped in at the last minute. So he was there. I'd say that was 2020, March time 2020. So even then, he was there, drop of the hat for the Rangers fans, rather than letting people down. He was there, and he told some absolutely brilliant stories that night. And it was great to just see the great man and be able to actually shake his hand and speak to him. So for me, that was my favourite moment with Walter.
Absolutely, and a lot of people have been putting moments in the comments there that would be up on screen. Almost play-by-play of that famous interview in the tunnel with Chet Young as well. I'm sure everyone remembers fully. Well, I always remember Walter as that's not. Oh, I thought my stuff was a foot away. Dying again there. Was just the mark of the man. He was a guy that had respect across the footballing spectrum. You saw that, I think, when he passed away, there was messages from all across the game, both sides of Glasgow, and we often talk about having that leader and that totemic figure that he encompassed so perfectly. And that's the thing I think that will be the making of whoever eventually does bring us back to success. They will have that aspect and that character about them. I think there's lots of managers that can coach teams and do well, and I think most of the managers we've had, save the previous one, they all had something about them coaching wise, or in terms of the footballing ability and being able to put players out on the team and things like that. They all had something at least. But the thing that's been perhaps missing from most is that extra, that mark of the man, that leadership characteristic that I think is a little bit unique to the club and unique to take it forward. Not just Rangers, but any major, massive club, you need to have that about you. If you look at managers like a Carlo Ancelotti, for example, that have that aura about them, and that wherever they go, have great success because they can carry the expectations that come with leading the biggest clubs in the world. And as much as we may not play in the biggest league in the world, I think that still applies in many ways to Rangers. So hopefully Danny Rowe can prove to have that. Someone mentioned Walter's last game, obviously against Kilmarnock, which was an absolute cracker. So let's hope that bodes well for today. Is there anything else about the team? Anything else you want to hit on before we finish off today, Tom?
No, I just hope that the players go out there and basically give it their all and actually look like they want to be in a Rangers shirt and belong in a Rangers shirt. We've got a chance to win here today. We've got a League Cup semi-final next week, which, we're not playing against the greatest Celtic team next week. We've got a chance to get in the cup final. And that's what I want these players to be looking at. We're like, we have got a chance of some success here. Let's win today and then kick on from there. Hearts have started the season brilliantly, but whether they'll be able to keep that going the whole season is a different matter. And we need to just start putting pressure on teams now. I mean, we've had a terrible start, but if we win today, we're up to fourth. And it's the only way is up, really. So, yeah, I just want to see the players giving their all today and actually look like they want to play for this great club.
Absolutely. I think I'll get throttled if I don't bring up Diomande at some point. I have seen I did see you mention him earlier, Paul. He's back in the team today, Tomo. Diomande has been a little bit of not controversial, that's not the right word, but certainly within our chat, there's ones that really like him and there's ones that think he's got nothing, or at least very little. Where do you sit on the Diomande debate, and do you think he's someone that I think most people would concede that Raskin will probably move on in the near future? There's not really been that same kind of conjecture about Diomande, so do you think he's someone that can be in our midfield for the next 2-3 years, or do you think we'll end up moving him on for someone better?
I think ultimately he'll move on. He's someone who I would characterise as frustrating. I think there is a player there. I think he has his attributes, but we just don't see it enough. He'll play well one game, then you won't see him for 3, 4, 5 games. So, as I say, I think frustrating is how I would describe him. I think he can do a lot more than what he does, and if he could do that consistently, it would be brilliant. But he's been here nearly 2 years now. I think it'll be 2 years in January. It's time to start showing it, really, and whether he can or not is a different question altogether.
Absolutely, I think sort of Jediah sort of hits it on the head here. He needs goals and consistency. That's the thing for me. He plays well in matches most of the time, but he doesn't have a big enough impact on those games. He can move the ball about, he can tackle, and he does all of that. And I think a lot of that kind of stuff kind of flies under the radar. but we also need our midfielders to contribute, and particularly one like him who is a little bit more of an attacking midfielder. For me, he doesn't get enough assists, enough goals. We need a little bit more from that. And that was one of the things I was quite excited about in terms of Lyle Cameron coming in, because I kind of feel like Lyle Cameron has a lot of the ability that Diomande has, but had a better record of getting goals and assists when he was at Dundee. So if Cameron can really push on and add that to his game with us, then I kind of said at the start of the season I could see him taking Dio's position in the team. It's not happened as yet. Neither of them, to be honest, have really nailed themselves onto the starting 11 at the moment. But we shall see. Paul stepped in there. Remember, Dio used to break forward and score some goals under Bristol. He stopped him. That is true. He did get a few goals earlier on. We've seen that from quite a few players, actually. I feel like Cantwell came in and was great to start with, and then faded, and then had another little good spot, and then faded. And I kind of feel like we've seen that from quite a few signings in the last couple of years. Players come in, they show us something, we get excited, but then they just kind of just sort of drop off. And that I think that's kind of really the crux of where the team is as a whole. We do well in spots, but then we drop off. We do well in Europe, but not in the league. We'll get a cup here and there, but we can't get the consistency. That's really been the overall issue. So we need players to come in who can come in, start well, continue well, and can keep doing well to the point where they win a trophy and do it on a regular basis. So here's hoping that can start today with Danny Roll at Kilmarnock, but we shall see. Just leaves me to say thank you to Tomo. And do you want to give us a prediction for the game today? Any predictions in the chat as well, if you've got them?
Do you know what? I'm usually Mr. Negativity, as you'll all know in the chat group that we have. But I'm going to go for a solid 3-0 win today, I think, with Majovski getting 2, Tavernier getting the other one. So that's my prediction. Yeah.
That's a good one. I said that yesterday on the pod we were on. I said I went for 3-0 with a Danilo hat trick just because I thought it'd be nice for Danilo to bang in a few goals and get some money out of that 6.5 million. The lowdown went out this morning. Well, I technically went out last night, and I rolled back my 3-0 to a 2-1, slightly more conservative 2-1, and I think I'm going to stick with that. To say, I don't think it'll be a great game in terms of the play, but I hope we just dig out the victory. For me, that's the biggest thing, especially as it's another weekend that they've dropped points. And it's annoying enough to drop points, but it's made even the worse when your rivals do it at the same time and you miss the possibility to gather up ground. So let's hope that they can do that today. Both me and Tom will be back for the post-match, so do tune in to us then, and we'll talk about whatever happens in the 90 or so minutes that have transpired. Hopefully we'll be coming back with smiles on our faces and a great game to talk about, but I'll take a terrible game and 3 points if nothing else. Do remember you can hit the subscribe button if you want to hear more, see more from us. We post, as I say, videos almost every day of the week, certainly Monday to Friday. Post pre-match content, post-match content, and the first content for the members there as well, which you can join our membership page for 99p a month if you would like to do that as well. So just ready for me to say thanks everyone in the comments for all of your chat as usual. See you. Just remember that every night is Rangers Journal Night. Bye.
Every night is the Rangers Journal Night.